Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallim taslima. Saddid lisani, nawir janani, safi amani, wazid barai. Viewers of Echo from Touba, welcome to the program. Again, today we delighted, happy to have you here from Lampfal Television. And inshallah, we planning to have a show. It's going to be live today, inshallah. And the topic, our subject today will be, inshallah, Darussalam. Darussalam, the exile of Sheikh Ahmadu Bamba and the Peace Project. Peace Project, because you know what's going on in the country right now. We're going to learn from the trajectory of Sheikh Al-Khadim, the project of peace from Darussalam, inshallah. But first, long life to our Caliph, Sheikh Muntaha. May Allah help him in his projects and help him, you know, all the community from his guidance, inshallah. Salam also to my Sheikh Murtada of Sheikh Abdullah. May Allah help him also in all his endeavors inshallah ta'ala. So we're going to take about 45 minutes to talk about, inshallah, the project of peace of Serigne Touba. Hopefully our country in much trouble, in the curve, will learn from the work of this great Sheikh, one of a kind, tremendous Sheikh, Sheikh Al-Khadim, Sheikh Ahmadu Bamba, Khadim Al-Mustafa. Speaking of Darussalam, Darussalam was a step from the return of exile of Sheikh Al-Khadim. Serigne Touba went on exile in 1895. 1895, that's 18 of Safar. We're celebrating every year, we call the Grand Magal of Touba. What happened was the Sheikh, after he settled in Touba, and that's where he trained a lot of disciples. And the disciples also had the satisfaction of the Sheikh, meaning of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam as well, and Allah Subhanahu Wa Ta'ala in Touba, where one of the sons of Serigne Touba was born, meaning Sheikh Ahmadul Amin Mbake. And the Sheikh who had authorization from Allah, from Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, to train these disciples. After he started it in Mbake Kajor, he moved to Darussalam. But before Darussalam, of course, there was Mbake, but later on in Darussalam. Allah told them in Mbake, Rabbi ashabaka bil himma, wala tu Rabbi bidars fakhat. A lot of people say that. Allah ordered him to train these people to have immar, to have determination, to conquer the spiritual path. That's how he started it in Mbake Kajor in 1883, something like that. We recall some great disciples who were with the Sheikh, someone like Mam Cherno Birahim Damal Daru. There was also Sheikh Anta Mbake. We're going to talk about him because of the Magal we had just last weekend, I mean last Saturday, in Friday, I mean in Darussalam area. Actually the Sheikh moved there to Darussalam and then further up north to what we call today Touba, the city of light, of course. Touba named after a tree in paradise. You know, the way Serigne Touba, Khadallahu lahu ma akhtarullah, has his city is built up, you know, in the image of paradise. Like you have a tree called Touba, in the lazina amanu wa amilus salihat, Touba lahum wa husnul mahab, as a promise of Allah Subhanahu Wa Ta'ala. But inside the city of Touba, you also have all these places that are called after cities of Touba, like Darussalam. You have also Daru Manan, you have Daru Minnan, you have Daru I'm sorry, you have Daru Muhti. All these names after Allah Subhanahu Wa Ta'ala. That means also the life of Serigne Touba is dedicated entirely to Allah Subhanahu Wa Ta'ala. When he went to Touba, and he achieved an extraordinary work on these disciples. because the work of a sheikh to his disciple is to tend towards perfection, to make them achieve the station of insan kamil, which is very hard in terms of all these steps you have to make from nafsul lawama, nafsul to nafsul kamil, nafsul mutma'inna, and so on. So the first disciples in Touba trained in Touba were someone like, of course, Mam Cherno Ibrahim, Mam Sheikh Ibrahim Fall, Sheikh Dam Abdurrahman Lo, but also Serigne Ibrahim Sarr Njaañ, and many others who lived with Serigne Touba in Touba. And there also was born one of, like I said, Sheikh Muhammadul Amin. That's where exactly we have the mosque right now, the Mosque of Touba. In front of that mosque, you have a couple of meters away, up on the east side, you have what we call Dar-e Kamil, and next to that Dar-e Kamil, the library, we have there a mosque that is being built right now by my Sheikh Murtada of Sheikh Abdul Ahad, and that mosque is where we do the Jama of Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha or Eid al-Kabir. At that same spot, location, that's exactly where Serigne Touba actually had his first mosque in Touba area. And what we should kind of remember from the move from Darussalam to Touba is Serigne Touba did something extraordinary. He called up Mam Sheikh Anta and made him actually the first sheikh in our order. So the first sheikh that was kind of named or known to us is Mam Sheikh Anta Mbake. And he was relatively young. He had just like 19 years old. And Serigne Touba kind of gave him this first city he founded after he went to Mbake, which is Darussalam. Darussalam was the first city given to Mam Sheikh Anta Mbake. Not just the city, but also with 19 other disciples. That were 1999 other disciples Serigne Touba trained himself. He considered them to Mam Sheikh Anta Mbake, which is Darussalam, the city of peace. Darussalam also will be recalled with an event that happened when the Sheikh came back from exile. As you know, Serigne Touba, since 1895, the date he went to exile for 7 and almost a half years in Gabon, and came back from Gabon. He went to Mauritania for another 5 years or 4 years, and then changed Jolof for 5 years, and then to Gabon, to Jurbel, where he said, Ramu Masiri ila Jurbel lada lasasi. And I went to Gabon in 1912. So if you kind of combine all these years, it's about 33 years of detention of Sheikh Al-Khadim. So don't say Serigne Touba was free. He never been from the colonizators, the colonials. He's never been free from them. He's been captive for almost 33 years. So the first exile, when he returned from Gabon, he did that trajectory from what do you call them, St. Louis, because after he came out, that was in the month of November 2nd to be exact. That coincides then with the month of Shaban, and he left Dakar to go move up to St. Louis, because obviously they had to sign some papers from the colonials, because St. Louis then was the capital of AOF, African colonial, something like that, with the French. So if you were a prisoner or you went to exile, when you come back, you're gonna have to go and do some paperwork over in St. Louis. That's where he met Mam Cherno, the disciple, because when Serigne Touba left the country in 1895, he gave order to Mam Cherno Ibrahim to take care of the community. So he was the one here training the disciples of Saint Touba, organizing the city, the community itself, but listening also to advices of many older disciples, someone like the brother of Sheikh Al-Khadim, Serigne Mor Jara Mbake, but also listening to, to other very fine disciples like Mam Sheikh Ibrahima Fall. So when Serigne Touba came back, after he met Mam Cherno, actually the celebration of the Magal of Darou Mohti remembers the meeting of Serigne Touba and his fine disciple and brother Mam Cherno Ibrahim on the 15th of Shaban over in St. Louis. But after he left there, Serigne Touba went to a place called Sanusi. Sanusi, he had a disciple that is very known. He was up there in the ranks of extremely good disciples, Serigne Cheikh Siré Lo. Serigne Touba stopped there the 5th day of the Shaban. We have Ramadan after that. On the 5th day, Sheikh Al-Khadim came to Sanusi. And when he hopped off the horse and moved close to Sheikh Siré Lo, Serigne Touba asked him, Sheikh Siré or Siré, where is it you're gonna have me settle in the house? And there was an anecdotal narrative here that Sheikh Siré Lo always says that he said afterward, he said, well, I don't know about the beauty of paradise. I don't know how paradise feels like or sounds like, but those words uttered by Serigne Touba, meaning, where are you going to have me settle? There's going to be nothing going to be more joyful to me than those profound words of Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba, Khadim Rasul Khadallahu lahu ma akhtar Allah. So after that step of Sanusi, he stayed a month there, because the whole month of Ramadan, Serigne Touba lived it inside Sanusi. And after the 5th day on the month of Shawwal, he left that area to move up to other places, steppes, villages around this. Bari Jam, for instance. Bari Jam, that means Bari, a lot, Jam, peace. So Bari, Jam, a lot of peace. And after that, he moved up to places like Taiba Silla, or the Silla family. Salam to my Sheikh, Sheikh Murtada of Sheikh Abdullah, his family. They also from the Silla family. And after leaving that area also, he moved to Mbake Kajor, almost coming back from exile at the same place. This community started the work of training Murids. After Mbake Kajor, he moved to Darus Salam. Wallahu yad'u ila Darus Salam. And coming to Darus Salam wasn't supposed to be the ultimate stop, because his family were in Darul Manan, but he has to stop in Darus Salam. Let's stay in Darus Salam a little bit, because of the dedication of Mam Sheikh Anta Mbake, who was one of the very first disciple of Serigne Touba, because he was very young when he has this unbelievable, this profound love of Serigne Touba. That was, I'm sure, inspired by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because he was so young. I even heard at one point, Mamor Anta Sali took him to Rufisque, I believe, to go to a Quranic school there. So being young, he missed Serigne Touba so much, he has to run away from the school, a Quranic school, as an 8 years old kid, missing Serigne Touba. And he was picked up by certain Mauritanians who brought him back, because he was very light skinned. They thought he was Mauritanian. So after that, they brought him back to Sheikh Al-Khadim. And he used to hang with Serigne Touba all the time, next to him, doing some little work for the Sheikh, and voluntarily, by the way. I remember there was this also narrative that Serigne Touba was, going on a horse or walking, I believe, and he was with Mam Sheikh Anta. So a lady from behind was calling Mam Sheikh Anta, where is it you going? And Serigne Touba asked Mam Sheikh to go speak to the lady. And when he came to the lady told him, why is it you're running? Oh, you stick to your brother, he's just your brother. Go do something, go study, go work. And Mam Sheikh Anta didn't say anything for a moment, and then replied to the lady, well, for me it's worth it. And when he came to Serigne Touba and they kept walking, Serigne Touba asked him, what did the lady told you? And he said, the lady was kind of stopping me from being with you, that I should be going to school, to daras and stuff like that. And Serigne Touba asked him, what was your answer? And Mam Sheikh said, well, I told him, I'm a volunteer. I like it that way. For me, it's worth it. And Serigne Touba said, whatever Mam Sheikh had later on is from that reply he had from during that day with that particular lady. And also, it is said that it was his mother, Sokhna Anta Ndiaye, who detected earlier this phenomenon with Serigne Touba. He knew because she was constantly in the house with Sokhna Jara and many other wives of Mamor Anta Sali. She felt that this sheikh, Serigne Touba had a bright future in terms of the spiritual thing, coming dimensions, stuff like that. And once Mamor Anta Sali was passing away, somehow Sokhna Seynabou Ndiaye heard the confidence of Mamor to his son, telling him, well, don't let me go to hell. I have a lot of hope, expectations from you after I kind of doing the bayha to his son. So when he heard that, he knew the Serigne Touba was an exception, and he kind of asked Mam Sheikh Anta not to take your brother as just a brother, but take him as a spiritual guide. By the way, if you just follow us, Echo from Touba. So happy to have you here. MashaAllah. Echo from Touba is every Sunday now, every 5:30. You can join us if you want. If you want to be part of the show, you can go to my Facebook page and send me a message there, or YouTube channel. Please like it. It's going to help open up more views for this particular program. We're doing only for the sake of Islam, for the sake of Sheikh Ahmadu Bamba, someone to be known who worked so hard for this community, for the whole world. He's, Khadimu Rasul, Abdullahi wa Khadimu Rasul. So because of him, we just want to talk about his legacy, his beautiful work. One of the most, again, prolific writer never ever known in the world, inshallah, and his beautiful city of Touba. Again, long life to the Caliph. There's going to be also a rerun somehow every Wednesday night. So Serigne Touba's relationship with Mam Sheikh Anta is just telling you came way back when they were young. When Serigne Touba moved from Sanusi, like I said, to Barijam, he came now to this particular disciple for this memorable reception they had during the return of exile in Darussalam that we celebrated a while ago. Mam Sheikh Anta did many sacrifices, lots of goats, lots of, what do you call them again, cows, lots of camels. All this he did for the sake of that reception, that commemoration we had. And also he had on the houses of Darussalam some beautiful fabrics. He kind of put there for the beauty of that particular day with Sheikh Ahmadu Bamba. Again, Serigne Touba did a I mean, a beautiful welcome there from Mam Sheikh Anta. There's also an anecdote there. I was a disciple who came over and told Mam Sheikh Anta, can you sacrifice me because of this particular day of beauty, of joy? Mam Sheikh tell him, I mean, that's fine, but we're not allowed by Islam. We're just going to do what Islam allows us, which is these camels and cows and goats for Sheikh Ahmadu Bamba, khadallahu lahu ma khtarallah. And we picked up Darussalam because of the connotation of peace. That's what we need right now. Darussalam, peace. Because Serigne Touba used to say, I haven't seen anything in this world better than peace, but not just on this planet, but on the next as well. So look for peace all the time. Be peaceful. Talk peace. And even in the spiritual training we're having with our sheikhs, what the ultimate goal, achievement we wanna reach is to be peaceful with ourselves. Insan Kamil doesn't mean anything but to be peaceful with yourself, because there's different entities. There's your body, right? There's also your spirit and your soul. There's three acolytes here that are always, together. If you concentrate on the body for food or everything else, ignoring dearly your spirit and your soul, it's going to be a problem. So how to balance these, or actually the work of the sheikh, of the shuyukh all the time, and obviously one of the most extraordinary of them is Khadim al Mustafa, and it was just to preserve peace. When he came back after the hardships, after the trials, after the hurdles, after whatever the colonials knew to hurt him, he said himself that, I mean, remembering Gabon with what I went through there is not even in my type of adab to write them, because it was just awful what the French colonials did to Sheikh Al Khadim. But nonetheless, when he came back from Gabon, he said right here in Dakar, afawtu anil ahda'i turran liwaj'i man nafa'um li khayri tharmadan lastu atfaq. I forgive all my enemies. I forgive all of them. Why? By the sake of the one who prevent them from hurting me. That's our Sheikh Al Khadim. He's been a soldier, a champion of peace all the time. We talk about today all these peaceful person like Nelson Mandela, you talk about Martin Luther King, we talk about many others who really did a lot of work, in Gandhi of India and many others. But I'm sure if you guys or viewers who are following me read the history, I mean, of Sheikh Al Khadim, what he has achieved, how much problems these guys brought to Sheikh Al Khadim, but he got himself controlled. He gathered himself in peace most of the time, but didn't respond. But also he said, be patient. If I told you always to be patient and to be in peace, Serigne Touba said, I'm good of an example, because I was wronged, I was hurt, I was patient, and Allah retaliate for me and paid me afterward. And be patient. As-sabr min sadmatil ula. When things hurt, that's where you should be very patient. And Serigne Touba, during all the trajectory of his exile, all the steps, he's been the most patient a human being never connotated, never known in history, of course. And remember also when, like I told you, when Mam Sheikh Anta had this beautiful village of Darussalam, he was young, 19 years old. So this is an exemplar for youngsters of this country, of the world, that being young doesn't stop you from being, being courageous, doesn't stop you from heading to a spiritual tone, doesn't stop you from being a lover of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a lover of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It doesn't stop you from that. I mean, these achievements, when Serigne Touba called for this beautiful tariqah. I mean, Serigne Touba just called, I hate to even call it tariqah, because he's just in Islam. You know, he renewed what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam brought. Rama Rasulillahi min ilahi kauni Abdullahi wa khadimuhu. I was ordered by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He pledged to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I become his worker, a slave of Allah, and his disciple, his server as well. So Serigne Touba did it on a beautiful way. But when he called this order in Mbacké Kadior, he was just about 30 or 32 years old. Mam Cheikh Ibrahima Fall, who just came in, was about 28. You know, Mam Thierno, some like 23 years old. Mam Cheikh Anta at the beginning wasn't even an adolescent at that time, and many others will follow up were youngsters. So we have a lot of hope for the young generation, because if you look for examples to emulate from, you don't need to turn at the pages. I mean, the book right in front of you have enough of figures who did a lot on a very young stage, like Serigne Touba and his disciples, and the one we're talking about today, Mam Cheikh Anta of Darussalam, who did a tremendous work. Salam to all the the Darussalam disciples who always, you know, give a fair amount of hidayah, starting from Mam Cheikh Anta and also Sheikh Mamoun Mbacké. Even when he had this turmoil back in the days in Senegal, the first meeting we had on a political level was held in Darussalam. At the time, there was Serigne Mamoun, like I said, there was Sheikh Ibrahim Niass, there was Sheikh Ahmed Tijani Al Maktoum, there were all of them who came to Darussalam for a meeting to see how Senegal should be held and how Senegal should be run as a Islamic Muslim country, a country that have different thing with regards to our Sufi tradition here, because we have Serigne Touba, we have Cheikh Sidi Hadji Malick, we have what do you call them, the great Sheikh Limamou Laye, and many others who live enlighten this country with great things that that honors us, and we taking advantage of today. So being young should not stop you from being have a goal, have to want to achieve closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's gonna bring us to the second thing we want to talk about, which is Touba today, because Sheikh Muntaha came out and asked the Baifals to take care of Touba. This is not new, because we know the first soldier, when we call for the battle, spiritual battle, the first one to step up is Sheikh Ibrahim Fall. He's the one who did it. So Sheikh Muntaha asked Sheikh Amdi Fall, the Caliph of the Baifal, to come and take the take the work of Touba by taking care of the insanity sometimes that's happening because of political activities, insanity happening because of unconscious people who don't know they live in Touba. And on top of that, the Sheikh said, I'm going to make sure all the time people read Matlabul Fawzain. That is an opus magnum of Serigne Touba. A book the Sheikh wrote when he settled first in Touba. A book that tells you a lot about the project of Touba, what Serigne Touba want for this city. Serigne Touba want first peace, like I said before, salam. There's nothing better than that. But there's an orientation of the philosophy, or what he was supposed to bring out, which is our community's objective was to worship Allah. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونِي. Sheikh Al-Khadim didn't create a village because of economic reason. didn't create a village. That remind us when Serigne Touba was in Mauritania, because there's also facts that comes to corroborate what Serigne Touba say or does in a practical life. When he was in Mauritania, and you know, they kind of move from area to area because of lack of water. When those people who lived in Serigne Touba were about to move to different directions, because water was over, they came to Serigne Touba because Sheikh Sidi was the mentor, in a way, there of the Sheikh, and they asked him, well, Sheikh Sidi was about to move from this badia, this particular spot, to a more, because the spot was dry, to a more wet area. Serigne Touba told them, no, I'm not going to move out. I'm not following whatever is just material goods, and water is part of it. Allah created water and created me. I'm going to stay here and do my worship and wait for Allah. And even there's a disciple who came over and asked him, well, because with the relationship, when Serigne Touba was going to Mauritania, they asked Sheikh Sidiya to be the mentor of Serigne Touba, because they couldn't do obviously anything to him. They tried to kill him. Basically, they couldn't do that, and they asked, Sheikh Sidi to be the mentor again of the Sheikh. So when disciple Mauritanian came to Serigne Touba and told them, well, your Sheikh is moving and he's telling you to move and you don't want to do it. Serigne Touba told them, your Sheikh knew, and they all know, that I only have one Sheikh, and his name is Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ba'ana li kulli man lahu ma'qul anna wasilati huwa Rasul. Those who have the mind that speaks out know that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is my Sheikh. So Serigne Touba didn't do that, didn't follow them to go look for water. At the same time, Touba was not created because of economic reason. Touba was not created because of other goals, but the one of worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I mean, Serigne Muntaha said it on a much more beautiful way. He said, the day we saw Serigne Touba and the last day we saw him, his only objective or goal was to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was concerned only by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he used to say to his disciples, anytime you have people who come to you and do the bay'ah for the sake of Islam, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and myself, make sure they don't know anything. You love them more rather than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anything that these guys know that is your concern should be only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Sheikh Ahmad Bamba, Khadim Rasul, khadallahu lahu ma akhtara lahu. So, but what happened when kids now, there's a new trend going on, which is social media. People are talking nonsenses inside. I'm sorry, nonsenses inside all the time about Touba, about the religious leaders insulting, doing some stuff that's not really right, and it's very sad. That's why we have to salute here the enterprise of the Sheikh of building what is the complex of Sheikh Ahmadul Khadim, the new university of Serigne Touba. It is more of a university, it's a complex, because from 6 years old you can come in and learn Quran, learn adab, education, and then learn whatever you want after that. There's, in these faculties of the universities. Because if you want to build a country, you have to start with youngsters. You have to have a goal. You have to have a real clear project of where you're going to go and what you want to achieve. And beautifully, Sheikh Muntaha knew that, and was a wish of Serigne Touba to have a place where people will come from all over the world to seek to seek knowledge. So alhamdulillah, thanks to Serigne Muntaha for this beautiful orientation of having a new complex of Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba Khadim Rasul. So he's been preserving the the beautiful city of Touba by all means necessary. By all means necessary. I mean, if you think about Serigne Muntaha, when he started his tenure, one of the first things he said was to my guide or to my sheikh, because there's Serigne Bara was here, or Serigne Sidi Mokhtar. He said, my older or my sheikh, I leave him with his authority. I let him alone, leave him alone with his authority, and also I give him my own authority as well. So that means he's been following, complying with whatever they wanted to do in Touba. So Touba has one voice. There's no two voices. Touba has one mind that gives directions, one words from only one sheikh. That's Sheikh Muntaha, the one who represents Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba. Serigne Abdul Karim Mbacké, may Allah give him a very long life and help him. He said a very, very beautiful thing when someone asked him about some stuff that were going on in Touba, and he told Sheikh Abdul Karim, what's your idea? What do you think about this or the other thing? Serigne Abdul Karim told him, listen, myself, I have a superior who is Serigne Abo, and Serigne Abo even have another superior, which is, so I don't have anything to say. That tells you the dimension of compliances of these sheikhs to their own sheikhs. So Touba is not like a city where people come and gather. This place was called the forest of Mbafar. Mbafar was somewhere in the center, never been owned by any protectorate, not Jolof, nor Kayor, not Bawal. It was like a center close to, that's even the reason why the French thought he was starting a jihad, a struggle against them. Reason why Serigne Touba told them, Inni ujahidu bil ulum wa bi tuqa. Don't think I'm going to be waging war using what you guys think is going to be, which is on a warfare mechanism. No, I'm not doing that. Inni ujahidu bil ulum wa bi tuqa. Exactly what Serigne Touba said. And in that area, the forest of Mbafar, they thought it was a location because Serigne Touba, when he was going on exile, after he saw on his reclusion in what we call today Darul Khudus, and he had this contract with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told them about this humongous project of being a servant of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Abdullah, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him that Serigne Touba at the time knew there's huge expectations coming to him inshallah. I think time is almost, but before that, thank you for following Echo from Touba. Once again, we're so happy to have you here every Sunday night. We're going to have guests coming. If you guys following and visiting Touba, I was just trying to elucidate what the Sheikh did for this city of Touba and how we should appropriate this jewel, how we should appropriate this beautiful, enlightened city, inshallah, of Touba, what we have, because there's a lot of turmoil going on. People think that it's just, no, Sheikh Muntaha helped us with COVID. When COVID came over and we had people running away basically from Touba, thinking that Touba was the epicenter of the disease. He stood firm, gave out 250 million to the government and so on. when the market of Okaz caught fire, how much money he gave out? A lot of money, and many other projects he's into, inshallah, for the sake of community. If you have a leader like Sheikh Muntaha, you just have to listen to him, to follow his instructions, to follow his order. So the message is, if you're not from here and coming visiting, Senegal has been a safe country, inshallah. Sometimes there's political turmoil, but inshallah, at the same time, we old enough to fix it, and that for the love of Serigne Touba. The country is blessed with someone like Sheikh Ibrahim Niass, what he represents in the whole world, how many disciples he have. People are crossing borders to come to drink in the beautiful fountain of mercy, the Faidul Kiram, inshallah. Mam Sheikh Sidi Aj Malik Si from Tiawan. Hopefully, Allah help us with the beautiful mosque they're building. May Allah help us finish that with the legacy he has for this country also. People he trained for the love of Allah, for the love of Sheikh Ahmad Tijani, of Faiz, but also many others, Sheikh Abdullahi Niass, Sheikh Serigne Limamou Laye, Limamou Al-Mahdi, right here in Dakar. He was almost exiled by the aggressors, the oppressors. They took him to Gorée Island. He had to bring out a lot of karamas over there in order for these guys to leave him alone, inshallah. And also, not even figures that's kind of way in the past. Actually, in recent history, you have figures like Sheikh Abdul Ahad. Look what he represents, what he did for the city, for Senegal. Look, Mam Abdul Aziz Sy, what he had accomplished when we had turmoils like this in the country. Look, Sheikh Ahmad Tijani Al Maktoum, Serigne Sambay, and many others who stood firm for peace, stood firm for the beauty of and the benefit of Senegal. So we ask everyone to calm down. Let's talk peace, do peace, Inch'Allah. Merci de nous avoir suivis ici à Lamfal Télévision. Nous avons 2 minutes pour parler un peu de ce que nous disions en anglais dans cette émission que nous menons il y a maintenant presque plus de 10 ans, je pense, et presque 10 ans. Maintenant, la raison pourquoi nous rappelions de Darussalam, le village que nous avons parlé tout de suite mentionné, c'est pour rappeler l'importance de la paix dans la vie de l'individu. Notre Cheikh Serigne Touba, il disait, il n'y a pas meilleur ici sur terre, mais aussi comparé à l'au-delà. Donc la paix c'est important. Ceux qui ont créé, amené la tariqa mouridia, je n'aime pas dire bien tariqa parce que aussi c'est une voie de Rasoul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, l'islam c'est l'islam, mais ils l'ont accompli en étant très jeune. Serigne Touba avait 30 ans à peu près. Mam Cheikh Anta, il n'était même pas adolescent quand la communauté commençait la Mouridia. Il y avait Mam Thierno qui avait 23 ans, Cheikh Ibrahim Fall qui avait 28 ans. Donc c'était des jeunes qui avaient vu loin avec Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, avec en eux la ferme volonté d'aller loin, mais par l'amour d'Allah, sachant aussi que wa ma khalaqtul jinn wal ins illa liya'buduni, vous n'êtes créés que pour m'adorer, il n'y a pas autre chose. Vivre, pourquoi tout ce tintamarre de est-ce que ça vaut la peine, hein? Plus tard, on va rencontrer the angel of death, hein? Et tout ça, si ça arrive et on n'est pas bien préparé, qu'est-ce qui va se passer? Est-ce que ça vaut la peine? Non, je ne le pense pas. Donc il faut que les gens se ressaisissent et se parlent, c'est important. Et sachez aussi que nous avons quelqu'un comme Cheikh Muntaha. Il vient de donner l'ordre au Baye Fall de contrôler la ville de Touba, de make sure that, comment dirais-je, la volonté de Serigne Touba décrit dans Madlaboul Fawzayn, son livre où il a expliqué ce qu'il voulait de Touba, que les Baye Fall soient les garants de cette volonté de Serigne Touba. Serigne Touba, un pays qui a Serigne Touba ne doit pas souffrir. Et puis, là où, maintenant dans le monde, les gens sont préoccupés par l'intellect, hein? Il y a l'avancée technologique partout dans le monde, comme les Tesla, les quantiques, ordinateurs quantiques, il y a ChatGPT, comme on dit, et tout ça. Mais nous, qu'est-ce qu'on passe notre temps à faire quoi? À parler de quoi? Mais c'est pas sérieux. Il faut qu'on se ressaisisse tout le monde. Nous avons la chance. Senghor, rappelez-vous de son poème que j'aime tant quand je parle de Sénégal, de ce Jolof. Mon enfant, il disait, regarde sur la carte de l'Afrique, la tête de ton pays hein, la bouche ouverte vers le dialogue avec les autres peuples. Je me rappelle plus du poème, mais c'est un poème que j'aimais beaucoup. Hein, le Cap-Vert qui ressemble à un nain, et la Gambie qui ressemble à une bouche. Et Senghor disait pour le dialogue avec les autres peuples de la terre. Donc si Senghor était prêt à faire le dialogue avec les autres, je suis persuadé qu'il voulait aussi faire le dialogue à l'intérieur de ce pays. Merci, que tout le monde parle paix, qu'on fait la paix, qu'on essaie d'avancer, parce que le Sénégal n'a pas besoin de ça. Thank you for following Echo from Touba. That was it. Inshallah, next time for another show, for another guest. Salam to Sheikh Aliou Thioune and all the brothers and sisters who are following here in Senegal and abroad. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Jërëjëf Serigne Touba. Jaarama Maam Cheikh Ibrahima Fall. Thank you.